He separates. He's to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Florida State. Warwick got up third down.
Winky looking Winky. Wants to throw the knockout punch to Warwick. Warwick open. Touchdown. He did touchdown. He did catch it. Touchdown, Florida State. Oh, Peter Warwick, how'd you do that?
Kermit Whitfield to the left side. A hole to the 30. Kermit Whitfield to the 30. To the 20. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown up and down. Kermit Whitfield. A 100-yard touchdown.
Here's the snap. Winston rolling right. Throws the pass on the other.
It's caught. It's caught. It's caught.
For the end zone battle. Coleman. Touchdown.
We're doing it for everybody. We're doing it big all over the country, all over the world. And I'm proud. I'm proud to say I'm a Florida State Seminole.
The Garner and Old Show, Thursday night, 7 o'clock. You are watching live. I'm Ryan. That's Vince. Vince, how are you on this fine evening, sir?
I'm doing great. Garnet and Old, no inside info, no contacts, no contacts, people. No
contacts.
Info, no contacts. Sometimes we have a problem. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a minute. But while we're waiting for everybody to kind of join in here, let's kind of give people a chance to settle. If you're watching on YouTube, whatever, go ahead and hit the like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Whatever medium you are channeling your Garnet and Old in, go ahead and like and subscribe and share. Let's get more people in here because the conversation is always fun.
Absolutely, Vince. I want to start off on a lighthearted note. Listen, it's a little fun. To be frank with everyone, for the last, Vince, this is our fourth year doing this. I can't.
Third and a half. 3.5.
We started off, Vince, year one, just doing it for me and him.
Yeah, we were just having fun.
Year two, we started to get a few here and there followers. And then the last year and a half, we really started to hit a stride. First with a couple hundred, now we're getting into the thousands, okay? And so we, up until this point, and we had this conversation a minute ago, have been in the mentality of still in the mindset when we're talking and posting stuff that we are just the two guys that started this to just talk to each other and have fun online, right?
Yeah, literally was water cooler talk. That's how this started. Yeah.
And so I had to learn the hard way this week that when you post something on X, or formerly known as Twitter, that it's no longer just some Joe Blow from 3 years ago who no one cares what he thinks. That now that we have a few thousand listeners a week and more people following us on Twitter, and that now I never thought about it, that I might be considered the go-to expert from someone out there. Someone might consider me one of the experts, right?
Yeah.
So
the other day,
go ahead. I'll let you tell us this part.
I'm in the garage working on some Christmas lights. It's one of my hobbies. I'm big time into the lights, and I had to change some lights out. So I'm changing some lights out and looking at some news on X, and I texted Ryan right away. I said, Ryan, you're getting cooked right now on Twitter. That's all I'll say.
I don't know verbatim. What I think I tweeted was something like this said, keep an eye on the portal today with 2 eye emojis.
Yeah.
Now, again, I'm posting that still in my old fan brain. Don't have anyone that really cares what Vince and I say. I'm just having a good time because I'm interested. I'm watching the portal all day. And so I was just tweeting what I'm doing, how I'm feeling about this, how excited I am.
QB portal stuff specifically.
Into the ether.
Yeah.
What I didn't recognize is that because of how many more people watch us now, that people normally that wouldn't have seen it a few years ago did see it. And Vince, 150,000 plus views on Twitter, hundreds of comments, Tarif Knockout commenting, a lot of people roasting about it. Now listen, the worst thing you can do, and I've seen it and we've all seen it, is get defensive and snap back. What I did when I started reading it, because I was just like, oh man, I didn't expect this. I told Vince, like, I'm laughing. I'm going through the comments section and I am laughing. And if you guys go on that post of mine and read the comments and read my responses, I'm having a good time with it. I'm like, hey guys, I'm taking the L here. I was not posting this as like trying to have news. I'm a fan, and I was just posting. I didn't think about it, but I appreciate the comments so much that I commented back on several of them saying, "Well done, that's fantastic."
Yeah.
Especially to Tarif Knockout. And we had a fun exchange back and forth. But Vince, I learned a very good lesson: is that me and you now, whether we like it or don't, are viewed by some as those who may have information.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I mean, that's our tagline for sure. And there are some things that we get. There are,
Mhm.
but there are way more plugged in people than us. But occasionally we do get some stuff and we'll share it. But you know, we always set out for this to be the fan podcast. And you should read our stuff as such, 90% of the time. Occasionally, like I said, we do get some tidbits, but
Yes. And when we do, Vince, when we have real stuff that we feel like we can go on, we will put in there like I have confirmed with a source, or I have a source that is indicated, and we will put that. So if you guys want to know what's now, I'm going to be better about just being careful in what I say, but and not spouting off so quick. Think about it, maybe a couple seconds, but which is a good habit to get in general. But when we actually have information, we'll definitely put like according to sources that have contacted us. Yes, Jeremy Evans, Ivans, we commented back and forth, and I said, "Hey, man, well done. Like, I'm just a fan. I appreciate all the levity, and hey, I don't know Jeremy personally. He's just someone who found our show, found my Twitter handle, and I think he will attest to you guys that I had a good time with him. We had fun, and it all was in good heart."
yeah, we just in general though, we're not going to be defensive about anything really. I mean, when you put yourself out here like this, you're going to get some stuff, and that's just the way it is. And I've got a thick skin. Ryan does too. We just don't want to mislead people. We're going to have some fun sometimes for sure, but we don't want to mislead people. But that was funny, and it looks like my camera's frozen,
You're
and
good
I'm
now.
back now. Okay,
Yep.
good. But keep in mind, if you're following the show, first of all, thank you. We say this all the time. Like, we never imagined it would become like it is. And if you enjoy it, let all your friends know. Subscribe and share it. I mean, that's the next step, right? Like, it's just share it out. Hey, this is something that's fun. And as we get tidbits, we will definitely share them. We are not journalists, but we do have a couple of connections.
Listen, when you've had a show like we do, when we've had people like from other podcasts, from
This is
Word
nice,
Chant-
by the way.
Yes, thank you,
Thank you,
Jim.
Jim.
When
We
you've had
appreciate it.
people on our show from War Chant, from Renegade Report, we've had from other podcasts that are outside the FSU. I didn't even consider that, we might be somewhat on the outskirts, that we're definitely not in the inner circle, but we're on the outskirts of now people considering us part of the greater FSU mindshare. So I appreciate all of you for having fun with it with me online. But Vince, number one thing I want to ask you going into the show,
Yeah.
how amazingly pumped are you for the absolutely important and riveting Orange Bowl? How excited are you?
I'm excited to go. This is something that we have to remember as fans, is that you only get to see your team so many times every year. And then once this game is over, we have to wait. And Ryan and I will be tracking, portal stuff and all of that kind of. We'll be tracking it all, but it's going to be a long time, 8 months until we get to see the team play again. So I'm stoked about it. I know there are some people like this game doesn't matter, and while I am still angry, Ryan, about what happened, going to watch the team play and seeing these young guys play, I'm excited about it. And we're leaving early in the morning to go down to take it all in. So I'm excited, Ryan. I know you're not going, but how are you feeling just in general? We'll get into specifics about the game here in a minute, but how are you feeling in general just about the build-up?
I felt more the excitement returning for the first time in my belly, probably in this last second since yesterday. up until then, I was so disgusted by how the college football playoff thing played out and the distractions of signing day, the portal, the conference realignment news. Like, there's a lot of distractions. But then again, put it into perspective. This is the last time we get to see a game against an opponent until next September. And so when you put it in
August.
that,
Yeah.
last week of August in Ireland. But when you put it in that perspective, you got to remind yourself, like, if you were to tell me in March or April or May that, hey, you want one more game just real quick, I would be dying at that point to watch anything. I would watch us play Tulane. I would watch us play Rutgers, and we probably wouldn't lose to Rutgers like one of our fellow conference brethren did today. Suck it, Miami.
We could talk about that in a minute
yeah.
too. I have some funny stuff.
But I would take any game, and so I'm getting back locked in. I'm excited to see the players that are still on the roster. There are some good players, especially in defense. The defense, at least on the frontline starters, aside from Jared Verse and a few other big time stars, still is frontline wise pretty good. I mean, like, I think we can hold up okay on the defensive side of the ball, linebackers and the backfield. Where you're really getting hurt is the youth and inexperienced wide receiver, the razor thin running back room, and really, really just light on the offensive line. You have the starters, but you don't have a lot of people behind them. So what is your feeling going into this weekend so far, Vince?
Well, I mean, the line jumped from 14 to 20, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that. I mean, as much as people don't think Tate was going to be, a great replacement for Jordan, not many people could be.
Right.
Apparently, the odds makers think it's another touchdown difference. And that's fine. I mean, we've seen plenty of people. Well, I'm sorry. We've seen plenty of underdogs beat the spread and win for that matter. Now, I'm not going to predict that. We'll see what happens later in the show.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, you've got a young kid that has only played in a single game. He's only attempted 4 passes or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
Going up against Georgia. And regardless of what people tell you, Georgia's going to have opt-outs too, right?
They have their quarterback, though, most importantly.
Yes, and he's a good one. There's no doubt about it. But it's going to be an uphill battle. Like you said, the defense is pretty much intact. And the offensive line is pretty much intact, right? Remember also that Darrell Jackson gets to play in this game.
Yeah.
So even though you're thinking about, Tatum Bethune's not going to play, or DJ Lundy's gone or whatever. Well, also, and Fabian's not going to play. Well, Darrell Jackson is going to play.
He makes up for 2 of those, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it could. And I mean, I'm sure there's some rust there. We'll see. I mean, I don't want to put the whole weight of the world on his shoulders. He's a fantastic talent, but he hasn't played a game all season, right?
Yeah.
So, which is ridiculous, but we've already hashed that out.
Hey, real quick, Vince, I want, for all of you watching live at home, jump in the comments and tell us, on a scale from 1 to 10, where are you on excitement level for the game now that you've had some time to separate from all the craziness of the last few weeks? Where are you on excitement level, and what are you looking forward most about the game? I want to read some of the comments and put them on the show. So real quick, Ed, I'm thinking about taking 20 points on the note. Hey, I think that's a solid bet. If I were making the spread today, Vince, I would say take 13.5.
Yeah, maybe. Because what we're looking at here, I think the over under is like 44. So what they're looking at is like 32 to 12, right? Is Georgia going to be able to score 32 points on the defense?
I doubt it.
Probably not. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's some pieces that are new and whatever, but yeah, I mean, that might be, if you're a betting person, you might want to take 20 in the Noles. That may not be a bad play. Speaking of, and I'll pull that off there, but the ticket prices are coming down. By the way, Ryan, is my camera flashing?
No, it's fine.
Look like it's flashing. Okay.
You could just be having a stroke.
I could be. The ticket prices have been coming down. And if you weren't planning on going to the game and now you're thinking, oh, kind of like this FOMO, fear of missing out, and you're like from the area down there, you might be able to get to go to the game for a relatively inexpensive, rate. So let's pack that place like we always do, by the way,
Yeah.
with Garnet and Gold.
Vince, can you take a second and throw the depth chart up for this
Oh,
game?
yeah. Hold, please.
Yeah. So I want to let's go beat by beat because again, I'm going to start. Let's leave the offense for last. How about that? We won't cover specialists and returners. Nothing's too different there.
Jeremy's going to be at the game. Good for you, Jeremy.
So if you've never heard of Gilbert Edmond, I don't blame you. If you've never heard of, if we go down the list here, the only other person that you have any concerns about, in my opinion, you can make an argument for maybe one person in the backfield, in the defensive backfield. But really, if you look down the list, are you sad you're missing Jared Verse, DJ? Of course, yeah. But really, Gilbert Edmonds, the only real person that you say, okay, he was not ever in the starting lineup for Florida State in the last 2 years.
Right. Yeah, you've got Jared Verse is not in there and Fabo, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Braden Fisk, which he pretty much manhandled the last 10 minutes of the championship game.
Yeah.
Right. Daryl Jackson behind him. And then you got Farmer and Peyton. Okay. I mean, we've got, like you said, Ryan, like the first line here is pretty impressive. Okay. So Tatum Bethune is playing. I was mistaken on that. So linebacker core, Bethune and Deloach. Okay, then.
I think Tatum announced that he was not playing, but he did it after the depth chart release. But
he did it after the depth chart release. Okay. And so Akeem Dent is another one. That's a big deal, right? Because, as he's been around long enough to kind of direct the defense. And then from a cornerback perspective, Bernardo Green's not going to play, right?
Yeah.
So, but hey, man, we've been talking all year about how we're excited to see Conrad Hussey play more.
I've been really excited about
Azarie Thomas play more. So yeah. I think the defense is going to be, 90% intact, which is a good thing because the defense carried us the last two games.
They sure did. And the guys that could have gone and declared and decided to play in this game, if they decide they're going to play with 110% effort, or else they would have just said, no, I'm not going to play.
Yeah. I mean, they're all in. And if you've watched any of the videos from this week where they're kind of interviewing the guys about, I think Shaheem Brown had a really great one about, how did it take you a while to get over the snub?
Yeah.
Right. And it did. I mean, this stuff kind of wrecked these guys for about a week. And he said, his mom,
imagine being a player. We're fans. Think about being on the team.
Yeah. His mom basically said, hey, this isn't the first time you're going to get cheated and screwed. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Right. So, but if you look at the offensive line as well, I mean, these are players that we've been dealing with all year.
Yeah. Where you really get nervous, Vince, is
in the skill players.
If Brock Glenn gets hurt in the game.
Well, I think we're going to see we're going to try
Wildcat,
a heavy dose of running game, right?
Yeah.
We're going to try to make that happen. And if there's one thing, and I say this all the time, if there's one thing that I'm confident about, and that is this offensive coaching staff does an amazing job of getting guys in position to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless, I mean, think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we didn't have the players that we have now, they still found a way to be successful at times, right?
Yeah, we beat a number 4 ranked North Carolina when we did not have the same talent.
Didn't have anybody really.
Yeah. And then you look now, you get real nervous on the running back room. Like we love Keziah Holmes. You've heard me on about every show this year say I want to see more Keziah Holmes. But where you get nervous is with Ja'Kai Douglas and Joshua Burrell listed as running backs.
Well, yeah, Josh Burrell is, he's a wide receiver through and through. Now he may have played some running back in high school. I don't know. I don't remember that far back, but it is it's going to be interesting. I mean, and I don't want to put it out in the ether, but I kind of have to, and that is that when you have guys playing running back that don't typically play running back, ball security is of paramount importance, right? It's not something that they're necessarily used to. So,
Yeah. Now, I do want to say he did declare for the draft, but he is going to play. We just had someone post that Kalen DeLoach declared for the draft, which he
that's
did,
correct.
but he is going to play in the
Yeah.
game.
Well, the last we heard, he was still going to play. Yeah.
He even says in the tweet in which he announces he's going in the draft, he hashtag one more.
Yeah. And, you know, um, if you're going into this game thinking that, let's go 14-0, I'm with you. Absolutely. Why not? Let's just go ahead and win the thing.
Oh, Vince, did you hear the comments after practice about them being asked if we go 14-0, should we be crown ourselves national champions?
No, I didn't hear it.
Brock Glenn said yes, he thinks that's should be how it goes. A couple other players echoed that. Brandon Fisk said, I don't know. I mean, it would be funny, yes, but a lot of players. One player, I think it was Brock Glenn who said, I've even heard like something about we might even have banners put up in the stadium if we go 14-0. Like, this is a legitimate thing. You're going the UCF route, except for I believe that UCF being a group of 5 conference a few years ago, we would have even more of a reason to be pissed if we're 14-0.
We went over this over the last few weeks, Ryan, and that is there's never been a legitimate national champion ever anyway. So, I mean, if people are going to do that, whatever, I mean, being able to say we were 14-0, we didn't lose a game is enough for me. I don't personally need to add national champion on the end of that.
Yeah.
But it's possible. It's possible to win this game. I'm not saying it's going to happen. That's a little later in the show, but it's possible, especially with the defense that we have. And I'm confident in the staff. The question is, Ryan, can we score enough points? That's going to be the question.
To that question, Vince, I had someone ask me the other day on X, can we expect a carbon copy of the ACC championship game? And I say absolutely not, because in the ACC championship, you go into that game with Brock Glenn knowing the day of the game that he's going to be starting. You go into that game knowing that you, at the time, hey, the whole win and we're in, you were going into that game as a hold on, just hold on a little bit longer, right? This game, it's a bowl game. It's bowl season. You see it all over all these bowl games.
You can get all the surgery you want after the game.
Because the bowl doesn't really matter and have an impact on anything in our season, you're going to see Mike Norvell let Brock Glenn throw the ball, and you're going to see some trick plays, and you're going to see things that Mike would never, ever do in a consistent basis on a game. You're probably going to see him go, because what does he have to lose?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to hold back, right? You're not going to take a timeout or two into the offseason like some rivals do, right? You are actually going to do whatever you can to try and win the game, and you're not going to, because you don't have to think about next week.
Yeah, exactly. You're going out there almost like you would. These are the kind of games where you get asking the players, "Hey, you guys want to kind of create some plays and you want to have some fun? Like, what do you guys want to run?"
The sand. Yeah,
you see it all the time. I mean, in every bowl game that's not a playoff game or a major game that is important to a team, you'll see, man, flea flickers, end arounds, reverses. I mean, you see all kinds of trickeration. And listen, Mike's proved we almost successfully ran a punt Ruski earlier this year, for God's sake.
Yeah, so, that was BS, by the way. That should have been legit.
But we did that in a real game. This game is for nothing but really show points. And so, yeah, expect Mike to
experience.
Yeah, expect Mike to open up that playbook wide open. He's not gonna, try to protect Brock Glenn because we want to try to win the ACC championship. It's gonna be Brock could be your answer next season, not necessarily, but he could be. let's throw it all at them. What do we got to lose?
I mean, the only counter to that is how much does he know and how much do the people around him know? Because it's not just about what he knows and what he's comfortable with, but you also don't have, Trey Benson back there. And you know what I'm saying? It's more than just what he knows. And they have to be comfortable in what they're running.
Go ahead and read that one, Vince.
This is from Gabby. If we beat the team that was consistently number one throughout this year with most of our second and third teams, Knowles deserve a hell of an apology from the NCAA and the college football pageant. We won't get it, but we should. Well, we won't get it, but this is something that we're just going to have to know internally, and we can talk about it together as a fan base, as a family. We'll talk about it as a family, as
My family
is how against all odds and against all the hate that's out there and the talking heads and the points that they're trying to get out across, that none of that mattered. The Knowles just did what they needed to do, right? We're just going to have to keep that joy inside.
Absolutely. Vince, I do want to wrap up talking about the Orange Bowl, and I want you to talk about the Chiefs at the Orange Bowl here in a second, but give me your score prediction for this weekend.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's going to be I would say probably 28-17 Georgia.
That's a good call. Vince, I'm going to go 24-21 Florida State. I'm taking the win, baby.
I love
the
it,
optimist.
Man. I love it. I mean, you do it. I'm happy for you. I've seen enough to how about this? If it's closer than what I predict, I'm happy. If we win, I'm ecstatic. It's just tough for me to see how we can match up on a down-to-down basis for 60 minutes, depth-wise.
Yeah. Now,
I think literally, if all things being equal, if you're talking about first team only for 60 minutes and no one ever has to take a break and no one gets tired, I think we can hang and possibly win the game. But that depth, man, they've been building, top 3 classes year upon year upon year. And we don't have that depth yet. So we'll see what happens.
And while I'm going to have you bring up the Orange Bowl Chiefs information here coming up, Vince. While we're doing that, hop in the comment section, everyone. Give us your score prediction for the Orange Bowl. I want to see what you guys got. Vince, go ahead. I want you to get some Chiefs time here.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that, we kind of know when the game is and everything, but, just like the fans that are going down to the game to spend one last hurrah with the garnet and gold before the new year, the Chiefs are there. The Chiefs they sent the Chiefs
all the damn time.
Yes, and they basically, how they do it is, of course, if the Chiefs live down there, then they're just going. But if most of the Chiefs are scattered around the state, so they send a charter bus. One charter bus left the Jacksonville area, Orange Park at 11:30 today, and picked up Chiefs at different spots along the way. And there was one that went down the West Coast, right? So there's a number of buses that are picking up Chiefs and going and meeting down in Miami Gardens. And the Chiefs are practicing tomorrow. So this is why I wanted to pull this up. If you live in the area, at 8:15 tomorrow, 8 a.m. at American Heritage, the Chiefs are doing their pre-bowl rehearsal. And it's open to the public. So you go to the high school, you go to the stadium, you can watch them rehearse. Why do I bring that up? Because a lot of people maybe are not going to the game, but they want to spend a little bit of garnet and gold time, right? Go see the Chiefs. There will be a ton of people there. A lot of Mark Chiefs alumni go to watch them, and a lot of course, parents of the Chiefs are there. But if you're just a fan, go there, and you will have a good time. The Chiefs usually will practice for about 2 hours or so, and then they will go and do the rest of the things there. They got a coach's luncheon they got to do, which is a pep band, usually like a smaller group. And they got the pep rally, and then stuff for Saturday as well. So I wanted to make sure if you weren't going to the game, you maybe wanted to have some more war chant in your life. You can go and enjoy that tomorrow morning at 8. I know it seems early. This is the type of work that Chiefs put in every day.
Vince, I do want to throw up two scores predictions from our audience. People feeling confident about the Knowles, Vince. 12-10. Fitzgerald wins in overtime. I love that score.
Look at that.
Done. Well done, Gabby.
Fitz.
Anthony, FSU says FSU 24, Georgia 17. Okay, people.
I love it.
You're getting that mojo back. We had it ripped from our hearts, and it's taken a while, but we're starting to feel it.
I love it. More. Send us some more.
All right, Vince. Switching.
Any bowl thoughts?
Any bowl thoughts?
Yeah, just in general, the type of bowl. Have you watched any of the bowls thus far?
I watched the tail end of the Miami game, and Miami lose today to Rutgers. So suck it, Miami.
You know what, Ryan?
Yeah.
I went and jumped in a Twitter space, an X space post game for Miami, just to hear the kind of things that they were saying. And you would be surprised how many were blaming and accounting that loss to the fact that they were on their third string quarterback that had not played much at all, if at all, this year, and all the players that opted out and wanted the transfer portal. That's the reason why they lost. I'm just getting that out.
Yeah, and when they're talking about our game, they say that that's not a valid reason for us to not, perform. But we'll leave Miami. Congratulations on the 7-6 year. I'm very proud of you. Another mediocre season to add to your many, many mediocre seasons in the ACC. And hey, maybe last year's your last mediocre season because it's the last time in the conference. Your last chance to win a championship, which you have never done in the ACC.
Yeah, and Mario Cristobal decided he wanted to take a timeout or two with him into the offseason. So that's always good too. So in the bowl games thus far, we just talked about Miami has lost. And, we're not conference waving here at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to point out the things there. Syracuse got blasted 45-0.
Oof.
Okay. Georgia Tech beat UCF. Duke beat Troy. Louisville got beat by USC. Virginia Tech beat Tulane. UNC lost to West Virginia. And Boston College, beats SMU. SMU, who is going to be joining the ACC next year, who had a lot of really interesting things to say to Florida State fans on social media this week, decided that they were going to go ahead and lose to Boston College. Now, I'm not going to pretend that bowl games are the absolute indicator of everything, because we all know that's not true. These are shells of teams, right? Just like our team, unless you're in the playoff. These are shells of the team that went through the year. I get that. But a little bit of kind of like, hey, man, you've been talking all this noise, and then you got worked over by Boston College. So right now, the ACC is 4-4 in their bowl games.
Vince, are you going to watch the Oklahoma game that's tonight?
I haven't watched really any bowl games at all. I am a very proud screw ESPN eternally subscriber. And I only turned on the Miami game right at the end so I could watch them not win the game. So the only game that's not been on ESPN, I think, was there was a game on Fox that I watched. But and I know it's just one person, but I can't stomach it right.
You know what my favorite bowl game has been so far? Florida's.
It's been a good one.
Yeah, it was great. They are undefeated in the bowl games of 2023.
NC State is losing right now too. That's right, Jim. NC State is losing, and the last I saw was 13-0, I think. So Boo Corrigan, traitor. Good
Vince,
for you.
I want to pop up one of our followers that has the best profile picture every week.
Okay. Char is back. SMU ain't all that. Well, they think they are. And, they've taken it. So what has happened in the last week or so after the Board of Trustees meeting and they filed the complaint? There was some verbiage in there about talking about the teams that the ACC took this past summer, SMU, Cal, and Stanford. And it basically pointed out the fact that those schools are not. Those schools don't do anything in terms of tier 1 media footprint.
Right.
And so the fans of those schools took umbrage to that, right? Umbrage to that. And fans do, right? But after that, then there's been a lot of SMU smack in the system. So they ain't all that. Okay, so at least NC State scored. Okay, so at least they're doing that. Vontae says not watching any of the games except for when FSU plays. I will agree to that. I will be there, but people watch the Noles. People watch the Noles, Ryan, and people talk about the Noles. People talk about the Noles because they get engagement. This is why Florida State is a top 10 brand. And this is why, when it's all said and done, Florida State will be out of the ACC, possibly paying $0 to get out, and will be in a conference that pays them what their brand is worth.
Absolutely, Vince. You want to switch to a little portal talk real quick?
Let's do it.
Should I put out another tweet indicating that we know something, or should I not?
Do it while we're in the show and say join the show
and
to find out more information. That would be complete clickbait. Also not kind of what we do, but by the way, while Ryan is pulling all that stuff up, if you are in the chat and you're watching, go ahead and share it. Go ahead and share the link. Get some other people in here. Let's make this. Let's take this to another level. Let's climb it.
Absolutely. And hey, man, all of these FSU podcasts and shows are doing amazing because people are passionate.
There's a ton of them, by the way, and Ryan and I will promote almost all of them.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Ryan and I will promote almost all of them because they are people that we trust and they're good at what they do. And some of them have been on our shows and we've been on their shows. There's a lot of Florida State content out there, and a lot of it is great. Jim, FSU wanted Oregon State and Wazoo over the other three. Yes, because those two schools actually care about football, and they have a fan base that is, rabid to a degree.
I do want to put up from Michael Newton. We'll be watching our Noles anytime they're playing. I love that sentiment. Vince and I watched every game. We got our what's beat during the Taggart era, the early parts of the Norvell era. Vince, I am the one person where my wife will be saying that, hey, can we go ahead and go to dinner? And I'll be like, no, there's still 3 minutes to go. And she's like, yeah, but we're losing 37-3. And I'll be like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I need to feel it, because when you feel it and then you win a couple years later, it's that much more impactful.
Yeah. And again, back to the sentiment from the beginning of the show, you only get to see your team play X amount of games, and then you're in the waiting mode. Right. So you got to soak it all in.
All right. Let's talk portal for a little bit. So
yeah,
listen, we know for a fact that Florida State is highly interested in. There is potential mutual interest from at least one quarterback that has indicated in every which way he can imagine that if available, he would love to come to Florida State and DJU.
Uiagalelei.
Yes. Now, we have not felt that exact kind of indicators from Cam Ward, but we have made it clear internally at FSU that we are more interested in Cameron Ward than DJ from everyone that we've talked to. So right now we're in this awkward waiting game of, is it going to be DJ? Is it going to be Cam Ward? I do think there's likely a cutoff period in which Florida State says we can't wait any longer. Let's go ahead and take DJ. I don't know when that is. I hope it's as soon as possible. Like all of you, I hope that's tomorrow. I hope it's New Year's, whatever it is. I hope it's very, very soon that we make a decision one way or the other, because at the end of the day, I'm excited about either of them. But what's really exciting, Vince, is we've gotten word from a few sources that Purdue transfer
before you jump to that,
Yeah.
can I talk a little about the quarterback thing
Mhm.
first? And that is that I believe with Cam Ward, and if you're following this stuff, you know this too. Cam Ward is pretty much trying to decide between going to the draft or Florida State. Okay, I don't think there are any other teams in play out there. I mean, maybe there are. Who knows? But at least those are the things that I've read. At some point, Florida State has to get off the waiting game because you don't want to be stuck with neither, right? But I think they've been okay with letting it kind of play out a little bit because there's bowl stuff going on and they've got to deal with that, and also the portal situation, which Ryan is about to talk about here, is crazy in general. I think if you are a fan that's been tracking the portal and you're wondering what the heck is going on with Florida State in terms of the portal, the portal's a little bit different right now because there's this you're not necessarily getting all of the top talent right at the beginning of the portal like maybe you did last year, right? I think you're going to get quality people available in the portal, straggling into the portal. And I think some of the lagging you're getting with people joining Florida State is they want to know who the quarterback's going to be.
Yep. Yeah.
So that piece of it is super, super important to other players on the team, even people on the defensive side, right? Because they want to play for a winner, right? So I think once that quarterback thing gets settled, I think you'll start to get more momentum in some other pieces. And as we know, the coaching staff is great in the portal. Go ahead, Ryan.
So I want to get into the non-quarterback big time things that we have to talk about. First, let's start off with a player who has stated, based on his people that, whether it be his family or people he's talked to in the media, Texas A&M wide receiver Evan Stewart, who is a talent. Go watch some Evan Stewart footage on YouTube and you'll see why he's so good. Has really said that he's not really interested in staying in Texas, like transferring to Texas from TMU. And he's also not interested in Alabama. He has listed his potential landing spots that he would be interested in as Florida State, Oregon, or Ole Miss. Now, we all know Ole Miss has been cleaning up and spending some money in the portal. But Vince, that's exciting because this is a Keon Coleman-like potential get.
Yeah, it is. And there's one specifically that goes back to what I was saying about some people may be waiting to find out who the quarterback is going to be from the portal. I think if you get, and it's tough to know, I don't know what Evan Stewart, whether he values Cam Ward over DJ or not. I don't know, but he's probably waiting to see who it's going to be so he can make a more informed decision.
And then we get to the safety position. Wesley Walker we have confirmed that on January 3rd he will be visiting Florida State. So
and his position is
he's a safety.
Safety. Okay.
Now he's from Tennessee. Good player, highly regarded, highly ranked high school prospect before. So really, really good. Now I do want to answer Jim's question here. Have to pull the trigger now or we could lose both. FYI,
possible.
guys. It is possible. Anything's possible. In which case you have Luke Gromahawk and Brock Glenn to compete in the offseason, and I'm not excited about that.
And also, this is not the end of the portal time. You got to remember this. There's going to be more portal possibilities later in next year.
I think people forget when we got Keon Coleman and Jared Verse. It was in the
very late
portal.
Yep.
But I would say, Vince, the honest answer on portal news that I'm most excited about is defensive end, the number one defensive end in the Big Ten at Purdue, Nick Scorton, I think is how you pronounce it, has interest in either Louisville or Florida State, and Florida State has confirmed, like we've confirmed that Florida State is going to host him. And so my man had 10 sacks, led the Big Ten. He was the number one defensive end in the Big Ten. Huge get if they were to get him. A very, very much a plug and play we have a game changer on defense, and that's the one I'm most excited about right now.
Well, if there's one thing that Florida State can show, it's proof of concept in pulling a defensive end transfer and helping them get to a point where they can rake in the big dollars.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a good sign. What is our opinion on Jeff Sims? Michael Newton asks. I would pass.
Pass. The cool
and he's
thing
from Jacksonville, by the way.
Yeah.
He went to Sandalwood. Great player at Sandalwood. He was actually a recruit for Florida State. And when Mike Norvell came in, he basically said, I'm going to recruit some other quarterbacks as well, not just you. And Jeff Sims basically decided to go somewhere else. I think he went to Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah.
Georgia Tech ended up beating us, by the way. That was early on.
Yeah.
And then where did he go to Nebraska? I can't remember where he went.
Yeah, he's been floating around.
Yeah.
Not a quarterback that is an elite talent in a Power 5 conference, in my opinion, at the college level.
Because what we're looking for here, Ryan, we're looking for a 1-year quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Brock Glenn, like you said, if we went into the season next year with Brock Glenn and Luke, it would be like you would be excited about the upside, but it'd be a lot of anxiety, right? There's a lot of unknowns there. We need another year of someone to be the guy where these younger guys can grow.
Now, the cool thing about the Purdue transfer, Vince, is he said is the number one thing that's important to him is a team with a great culture.
Got that.
Yeah, so I'm feeling good about that one. I'm excited. And I do want to pull up this one from Michael Newton. Hey, I know he's not seasoned, but Marvin Jones Jr. is in the house. So
He's
I'm
an
just
edge.
saying. No, I know. But when you're talking about linebackers, Vince, we have some good linebackers on our roster.
Sure.
We do. You look at the players we have. You might not know their names yet. They might not jump off the page at you. But we have proven that we can develop some linebackers. I mean, Kalen DeLoach was a liability a few years ago.
Yeah, but he's proof positive that if you get someone with the talent, that you can develop them if they're going to stick around for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
That's not always the case, right? But he stuck with it. I mean, he was here from the bad times, man.
Yeah.
Tatum Bethune came from UCF, and then DJ Lundy decided to take it over to the circus, so he's gone. And then you've got Blake Nicholson, who I think is going to be a fantastic player.
Oh, he's built for it.
But you need more than one.
Yeah, you do.
And the linebacker recruiting has not been stellar.
But I do want to also say, Vince, you don't get elite linebackers just popping up, growing in the portal. You guys can find a wide receiver for days in the portal. You want a wide receiver, you want a running back, man, take your pick. There's all kinds of great players in there. In fact, I heard, and I'm not going to report on it because we don't have enough information on it yet, but we do have
Ryan.
We do have a running back that may or may not be interested in transferring to Florida State. One of the best running backs in his Group of 5 conference from last season. You guys can take what you will from that. We don't have any information to report on, so I'm not going to run with it.
Yeah, Omar Graham is someone that they like, right? So that's been the thing with this staff is they've not been elite on the recruiting trail out of high school. So they've had to take kids with a ton of upside and try to develop it. And this staff is really good at developing. So that's great. So if you think, Omar Graham, if he would have had to play as a freshman, it probably would have not gone well. Right. But I do have some great confidence in his ability to be an integral part of the rotation. Ryan is scarred.
Yes.
Ryan.
Listen, I'm going to be extra careful about what I report on X or what people might believe as they report on X before I post next time. And I promise you all, I did not do that with any ill intentions or trying to say I knew something for definitive reasons, but I need to be more careful.
That was funny. Still very funny. Anything else in the portal, Ryan? I'm trying to think if there's anything else we've
No,
heard
nothing
about.
that we have any information on. No inside information on it.
I'm just going to wrap that up, though. Just keep in mind, people, that this portal session here is not the only portal session,
Mhm.
right?
Let's
And it's important. And keep in mind also that Florida State had to go crazy in the portal for years. The roster is different now. The staff can be pickier, right? They can be more measured in the things that they're looking for to plug certain holes. We don't need a complete flip of the roster like we did at the beginning.
Let's finish up the show with some basic conference realignment talk. We
Yeah.
already covered it in depth on a full show last week. If you want to learn about what we feel about the conference realignment and all the stuff that came out last week, go watch our show from last week. We did a full hour-long show on conference realignment. But one thing that we did learn, Vince, is that the case that we filed will be held in Leon County and has a judge that was an FSU alum. Don't get that confused, that because the lawsuit that ACC filed will likely take place in North Carolina right as of now, and will likely be assigned a judge that may be helpful to them. So it's two separate cases right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know enough about the legal mumbo jumbo, but the ACC's attempt at a preemptive strike could end up blowing up in their face, just from the standpoint of, we had not, the Board of Trustees had not done anything, and yet they were planning to, file a complaint against us. That doesn't seem like someone that has the best interests at heart of your member institution. I can't imagine the venue is going to change. I'm pretty confident that Florida State's complaint will be heard in Florida.
Yeah, based on the
And
law, on the Sunshine State law. Yeah,
it's and that's super important. It's super important. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's new that's come out since then. I don't know, except for the judge. Like they announced who the judge was. I don't think there's anything else new in that realm. Let's see. So if we know next year that we will be joining a different conference 2025, how do you think we will be treated next year by the refs? Because they're going to treat us horribly anyway. I mean, the referees in general in the college game are terrible. And the ACC is king among them. So I can't imagine it could be much worse. So whatever. I mean, whatever we're going to have to deal with to get out, we got to do it.
it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it. And the rest of the conference, that's being silent about it all. Eventually you'll know. Eventually you'll know who the real players are once Florida State starts getting some momentum and starts basically notching some wins here, because they're just waiting to see what happens.
Yeah,
Florida State's going to lead the way, and we're okay with that. And the other schools that, and who they are, right? Because you hear them on social media all the time about, just you signed it, now you're stuck like the rest of us. No,
that's not how law works.
we're not. That's not the way it works. It's not how it's going to work. But I don't think there's been any new information out about that.
Right. What I do want to say, though, for those of you, I know I did the fun Christmas wish show. I had a lot of fun with that. That was cool. But I might end up doing a show on New Year's events, just because I might talk about some thoughts after the bowl game. We're going to do a pregame, hopefully, or of some form, maybe if it's pre-recorded or post-game for the bowl game. However, I might have some time on Sunday night that I can do a show, at least a brief show. But if we don't see you, if you don't join that show, I want to wish everyone a happy New Year, man. I hope all of you had a great Christmas. I hope everyone has a fantastic New Year. And Garnet Old, I can tell you one thing, Vince, we have grown over 500% this year. 500%.
We have, and part of the reason why we have is because of all of you that are watching and listening and sharing and subscribing and liking and notification. You know, all that fancy stuff that you do when you want when you can't get enough of the Knowles, right? But another reason that's helped us out a lot, and I want to make sure we do this too. Ryan and I have also had the opportunity to be on other shows too. And so you may see, don't be shocked if you see Ryan or myself on some of the other Knoll shows that you watch and listen to. So, and not just Knoll shows. We're also on a Big 12 show often because Florida State right now is the center of the realignment universe.
Mhm.
And they want to know what's going on with us. So,
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And listen, we want to do more stuff, more shows, more events next season. The only way that we can do that is with you guys helping us out, sharing, liking. When you like a video, it literally shows up on more people's feeds and more people subscribe and more people like. It's a recurring thing. So please do that for us.
Speaking of right now, if you're on YouTube watching, go ahead and like it. I want to watch these numbers go up. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe.
Because the second we reach a certain level of events, then we can really start cooking with a lot more maybe events and live broadcasts and the same great coverage you come to know, but more.
Absolutely. What else, Ryan? We got anything else here in the agenda? I don't think we do.
Not too much. I do want to confirm for those of you that don't know that even after football season is over, the Garden Old Show is not over. We will continue to do live shows throughout the entire offseason. We will be talking about, even during tough times, the basketball team. We will be talking about the baseball team. We will talk about the Lady Knoll teams. Garden Old is your one-stop shop for all Florida State coverage, not just football season. Even though, of course, the football season drives most of the traffic and most of the coverage, we love Florida State.
And not just sports. You get all your Chiefs stuff here too. And if you are going to be at the rehearsal tomorrow, come find me. We'd love to chat with you.
Absolutely. Well, Vince, it's been a fantastic show. I hope you have a great time at the Orange Bowl and a great New Year. I'm sure we'll talk before that, doing the pregame and postgame for the bowl game. But everyone, thanks so much for watching. Garden Old, no inside info, no contacts, no problem. Go Knowles, Vince.
Send Chiefs all the damn time. They send them this time. We're going to enjoy it or chant till we're blue in the face.
Go Knowles, Vince.
Go Knowles.